Hey everyone. I decided to do another Magic the Gathering Duels video. This time I'm going to go with Simic Tempo. It's another deck that I saw list for really, I've seen it a little bit while playing the mill deck and definitely enjoyed it. So I thought I'd go ahead and play some games with it. Give you just a quick overlook of what it is. The idea of Tempo is the fact that you're going to get a couple of creatures down and you're going to maintain tempo. You're going to maintain aggression by preventing your opponent from moving forward, like putting more guys on the board, creating more blockers, or actually getting anything on the board. So I guess the easiest way is to go through like the creatures. So we have a couple of early 2 drops. We have a Welcome Turn and an Undercity Troll. Welcome Turn's got flying, so it's not a lot of flyers are being played at turn 2, and Undercity Troll's got Renown, which is pretty big. Plus, it could also regen. We got Justine Thief for card draw, and also gets bigger when we cast spells, which we do have a few. Frost Links to help tap creatures down, so things like Renown can get in, and Justine Thief, and he also keeps them tapped down for another turn. We have Valor Wardens. It's got Renown too, so it can be a very big threat once it gets through. Plus, it also draws a card whenever anything gets Renown, including itself, so there's some card draw. Binding Crisis, another tap mechanic, or untap if you need it. It's also been cast as Flash, so you can kind of cast this at the end of somebody's turn, and then it's ready to go. And you can also tap something down to make sure it's already tapped down. So a lot of tap mechanics. We'll get some of the other mechanics shortly. Royal Rogue. Royal Rogue has the ability to make something unblockable, or can't be blocked. There's a better way to put it instead of unblockable, slightly different. Plus, it could also give us 2 1/1 flyers. Summer's Void Mage bounces something back to a person's hand, again creating tempo because you're putting now there's less creatures on the board and you've just added one, so you've swung in your favor. And just the big body and Outline Colossus, which also has Renown, that can get cards off of Battle Wardens. Also, it can't be blocked more than one creature, so it's a big threat. They gotta deal with it or they're just gonna die. Plus, you can also make it unblockable with Royal Rogue. To also support this, we have Might of the Masses. This might turn into something else. This might turn into the 3rd wild size. I'm just playing with it right now because it was on the deck list that I had seen already. I just wanted to try it out first before making my own adjustments. But it gets some extra pumps, so you can get people with Renown through, or just the final piece of damage. One other creature I didn't mention is the Harbinger of Tides. You can play as it had Flash, but its big thing is it also bounces. Again, more creatures that are tapped, though, specifically. We have Disperse, can return non-land permanents, so on that way to bounce creatures back. It could also bounce back a Planeswalker that's gotten on the field, which is a pretty big part. What other? We have Wild Size, +2/+2 to trample, plus draw a card. So there's some draw cards in here. And it's always nice to have a cantrip. And the other spell we have is Anchored Ether. This is probably the best tempo card we have in the deck. It bounces back a creature, but instead of even putting it in his hand, it puts it on top of the library, so they have to draw it again. I've won games because they would miss a land drop because they have to draw the creature again. Plus, it also allows me to scry one, so I can also make sure I make my land drops, or make sure that I'm trying to draw a threat if I have significant land. So it's a very nice card at 3 mana, and definitely probably for me what I'm seeing is the all-star of the deck from a spell perspective. So anyways, I just, in case you want to see the land, 10 islands, 7 forest, 2 Hinterland harbors, 4 Simic Guildgate. This is one of the times where Guildgate doesn't feel like a problem. I've had some problems with Guildgates where it felt like it slowed me down too much. The only time it's a problem is if you're only 2 lands of 2 of these. Doesn't happen very often. Or you get a Guildgate and a harbor and no basic land. It'll slow you down a little bit, and when you're talking about a tempo deck, that can be problematic, but it's not a big enough problem, or doesn't feel like a big enough problem. Let's go ahead and jump into a battle here. So I like playing the game. I like it a little bit in the mill because it's a little bit quicker. I can get through games a little bit faster. I mean, I like the mill deck. The mill deck's been pretty solid. It is prone, however, to some cards in the meta. I've seen some more uh, um, enhancement destruction lately, which is a problem. There are other win conditions in the mill deck. If you've seen the previous video, but but if you get too many enhancements destroyed, it's really tough to win the middle deck unless you have something specific, and you got to stall out the game long enough to get your other kill conditions, which again can be problematic. This kind of works all the way through. You're really not going to have too many bad draws, although this is going to be not great. We don't really have a turn 2 play. We don't necessarily have to have a turn 2 play, but we don't really have a turn 3 play either. So we're able to go in hand, and we were rewarded much better. I'm going to play an island first. There is the offhand chance that I may want to play 2 blue. For the 2/2 for 2 blue, but chances are probably not. Looks like red deck wins type deck, which is fine. It looks like we have 2 trolls, so if he decides to get rid of this one, we can get rid of the other one. Fiery Impulse, that's fine. Okay, so he's going for big win. Pretty early here. It's a lot of resources already used, so that's pretty good. If we get Ink of Ether, we could stick this on top, which would be a pretty good tempo play. We didn't, but if we get a 4th land, we can bounce it back. I'm going to play the Bounding Crisis play to tap him down. Make sure we have 2 creatures on board before we have to do it, because now, since it's renowned, we do it to block twice. Bully man. Unfortunately, we missed a land drop. I'm going to go ahead and pass the turn with either Bounding Crisis or Wild Size play. I'll wait for him to make a move. See what he wants to do. He has to attack with the 2/2. We're going to Bounding Crisis again. And keep that one tapped down. Fine if he uses a spell on that. They'll just trade, which is a perfectly fine trade. Eventually my creatures will kind of take over. Fortunately, again, we did not get land. But we're going to play a little bit back here. Usually going to allow my Jessian Thief to get in. Which I think is a mistake. He's basically running out of resources at this point. We're going to go ahead and take an attack. It's going to allow us to draw the card. It's good news for us. And number 4. And we're going to start taking control now. Draw. It's a pretty good draw. Let's go ahead and attack. Token, which won't come back. And we have an undercity troll. We basically have board control at this point. We have card advantage. He kind of used up all his tricks to deal damage right away, which is a mistake. Just going to get in for 1 here. Nope, he decides better of it. Let's go. Once again, get draw. Get the Undercity Troll, which we can now. Play. This is what I mean by tempo. We kind of keep him behind while we're building ourselves. We get card draw. He's going to use a Rogue's Passage. It's a bit of a mistake. He's about to take a shit ton. One, two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He is possibly dead this turn. Yeah. I think he realized he made a mistake. So you left. Oh. That's a pretty big draw for us. That's a good kill. So, it could have saved the Titan strength for a better time. Yeah, he got a bunch of damage in, but I still had 7 life left. One of the problems, one of the things that I think Red Deck Win players don't see if they're not a veteran of it, is you don't want to sit in there just doing as much damage as you can right from the beginning. You can always get that in later and then kill with it and a surprise. But just throwing it on there right at the beginning just isn't going to get the job done. Um, especially when he he didn't. The guy was going to get renown anyways. He was going to get damage from it anyway. It just wasn't. Yeah, overall, it just wasn't a good. It just wasn't a good play. Um, yeah, I actually wanted to keep that hand. It was iffy because if I didn't draw a land, I was screwed. But there was a lot of action in it. And I have this weird luck where if I get a hand with 3 land, my first draw is always land number 4. Not necessarily a bad thing in this case since I have a Rogue. But it's alright. I'm not sure what this guy's playing yet. I was thinking Renown, given the color scheme, but looks like he's looking to go up the ground, so I'm not quite sure what that's about, but right now we fly above, so not really the tempo game that we usually play. We did also draw land number 5. Okay. We're gonna have to deal with that getting renowned, but that should be fine. We'll basically trade 2 damage this turn, but I'll be bouncing it back to his hand next turn. Unfortunately, I'd like him to have spent enchantment on that, but dice, unfortunately. Some pretty beefy stuff going on here. Pretty good start. Gonna need some more. So he doesn't have to do that. 15 is regular, it's a really good card. It's a 4/3 with Renown that taps. I mean, that's a very, very strong card. Got a little bit unlucky that he drew that early. If you don't know how this works, they put to draw that. Hang on. Yeah, I have to kind of stall that. Yeah, next turn I can use Disperse. Thief and Disperse. I want to get Renown. That's fine. It did its job, it delayed. That's all I'm looking to do at this point. I have to do this now. It'd be better if I could have done it later. pretty much staving off the inevitable. Luckily, he's drawn a lot of land. Well, I don't know if that's luckily, because he could just continue to tap effect. And eventually, he is going to overwhelm it. He doesn't have to... let it go. Could have a wild size. I don't think there's much I can do here. Is that a way to... I'm really not a way to gain back tempo. No. Let's see what he does when I play that. Tap down the Magician, which is fine because he did it now, not until what he should have done is waited until this resolved. I used the ability, and now I got these tapped down as well. It's a bit of a mistake on his part. Turn can't block anyway, so I might as well just continue to do damage with that. Not that it's really going to cost him much. He's pretty far ahead. The regulars on board and me not really being able to do much about it. This would be the downfall of the deck. There's no real removal except for some combat tricks and just having extra blocking. He may be thinking about just tapping down 2 creatures. At this point, Renown doesn't really change much. It's +1/+1. I'm going to go to blocking, which means he's got a trick. Which means I have to let it go. Pretty clear you had the wild size. Not too worried about you not having the wild size. Maybe a second one, there was nothing I could do anyways. Being at 10 really doesn't change too much. Being at 2 or being at 4 doesn't change anything. It's still one combat. So it was unnecessary. Wish I had more mana, but this will help delay. I'm being pretty annoying at this point. We could have got 2 damage in. That was a mistake on my part. This wasn't going to change anything. I was probably going to block the Royal Rogue. Actually, it was a mistake because he has at least a tap. My damage is coming out anyway. twice. Second turn goes in. Okay. If he wants to keep tapping, he has to do that. I don't know if he has one tap. That may be his undoing. That's fine, couldn't do anything about that anyway. That's actually going much closer than I expected. I was able to kind of catch up, but he has to navigate correctly when to tap and when not to tap. I haven't been too greedy with my attacks, so I've been able to deal with things. If he taps again, because that's going to untap my turn. Okay. So I have to bet wild size. Perilous maybe is going to definitely work well. So if he has one creature left on the board, and that's not going to do it for him. All that does is fight mine. I have way too many creatures on the board. You can't deal with all of them. You can't cast all that stuff. So this should be game next turn. Because you can only tap 2 creatures, maximum 3. Yep. Okay, so he takes out one of the flyers. Oh no. Oh wait, no. I'm dead. Sorry, I forgot about the Perilous Mirror being able to like, hit me. If he hadn't actually drawn Perilous Mirror, he was dead next turn, but the Perilous Mirror actually made him draw. It was basically the last thing he could draw. But I was pretty happy how that game ended anyways. Did I mess up? Could I just attack for the win? No, because he evolutionary leaped those guys after I declared my attackers. So had I just attacked all out, you know, I should have done the math. He would have blocked one. Well, he would blocked. You obviously would have blocked the Colossus. He would have blocked probably the Thief. Would have gotten in for. I think I would have been 1 damage short. I would have gotten two off the Thopters, and I think I would have gotten one off of or one of the other remaining creatures. But everything else would be blocked. He would have been at 1, and basically banked that he was going to not draw into anything. So it's a really close game. This could be a really, really good hand. Needs just a couple things to turn on. One of them being land, and Kindle Land 5 may be a problem. I'd like it better if I could Tides and bounce it back, but this will work just fine. He may have the kill for it. That's fine. Not much I can do about that if that's the case. Okay, just extra. Just hold off. So we will be able to bring in the Colossus. I'm going to Frox Lynx. This guy. It's fine. Instead of trying. He's hitting his land drops, so that's good for him. Unfortunately, the turn is not the best. Two disperses. It's pretty good. Be able to play some tomfoolery here. Take some back, but I'll wait to see what he does. Do not play during your main phase. Oh. It's a helpful little tool every once in a while. You may scare them off. Okay. I already did its damage. 1, 2. We'll just kill it. That's fine. We'll take 4. We'll take another 4. Turn. I don't know if the attack was correct. Probably, I don't know. I didn't really think it out that much. It's got a lot of like on the ground stuff. But now he has to deal with this. He has to deal with it with 1 less. Okay, he did have a bone splinters, so that was unfortunate. Don't remember golden splinters being in Gogari, but apparently I was wrong. Or at least I haven't seen it in quite a while. So that is unfortunate. Definitely makes the play wrong. Unfortunately, we haven't seen anything good value. Colossus that would get us out of this mess. Just on a weird spot. Look, it doesn't have anything too brutal on board. We can take some extra damage while at least getting rid of a couple things. We have a disperse. If he attacks with everything, there's a possibility we get through in we will with Wayfarer. I think he has to navigate. He's got to navigate this correctly, and then I gotta. Well, no, he doesn't. That's probably the correct attack. Luckily, they won't have. He doesn't have reach. What do I mean by reach? Not the actual keyword, but he doesn't have. Unless he has trample, he has no way to get over to get to my hit points right now, unless he does some kills. Looks like. So he had exactly enough. Okay, so he did have the reach that I was looking for. He didn't get Bounding Crisis, which would have made a huge difference in that game. Just didn't quite get what I needed to be able to deal with his initial onslaught. The second set of attacks with the 2/2s was probably wrong. I probably should have just held back. Yeah. Yeah, it was a mistake on the second set of turns. I didn't really think about it fully. The bone splinters really threw me off. I didn't really think that was going to be an issue. I'll have to look out for that next time. Quite frankly, there hasn't been a lot of Gogori elf decks because they haven't been doing very well. They just get rocked by Languish. It just destroys them. With the tempo deck, you can be wrecked by it, but Gogori elves, you basically have to like rush. Like you could hold back, but for the most part, they just don't do enough damage. You have to rush. You don't care about rushing as tempo. You can rush, but you just don't care to. You can just get in for your 2 to 4 damage a turn and get there. Wow. So you can hold stuff back. Plus, you have a lot of card draw mechanics to be able to pick back up some cards back in the hand, so you can refuel. Again, Gogori Elves doesn't have too many ways to do that. They have the elf that draws, but they could use some of them probably could have read the bones, but that could be problematic too. Ooh. He Milligan down to 6. I'm gonna even keep my hand. I may be able to draw into a 2-drop, and as I have said before, if I if I have 3 or 4 lands to start with, I'm gonna draw at least 1 land. My first draw is going to be land. That's what happens. Luckily, he doesn't have a turn 2 play. Or maybe he does have a turn 2 play. I may be wrong. No, he doesn't. Okay. Ugh, ugly. Okay. It's the second game where we've been on the draw and we've drawn and had 3 or more lands, and we draw land. And he does draw into his. He does draw into that. That is a weird one. I guess he's expecting it to get out quickly and doesn't expect me to be able to do much about it. I actually can have Disperse, which if he does make it to be a Planeswalker, I can still deal with it. Okay. Now what? Okay, now I'm confused. What artifacts is he playing? I'm really confused now. But we're gonna get in. Get a draw that we need. This may be a non-standard deck. Given his level, wow. Oof. 3 spells. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. Sure. That's one I did kind of expect at some point. Everything's tapped. You go in. I guess that was a desperation move because he couldn't deal with the flyers and everything. Oh, okay. Makes a little bit more sense. Rupert welcome turn out here just to make a bigger might of the masses. Kill a kick. Attack with both. Maybe if he has something he can do. Okay. By the way, if you play this game and you're gonna play in ranked, please turn off your damage effects. If he plays another land, he's gonna be out creatures. That's not gonna help. It is a token, so it's not gonna double. But it can't be affected by that. Would be 9/9. The purpose of getting this down to 2, if he wants to put himself in a situation where he loses this by making a 4/4 to block with, he's gonna lose his Planeswalker, which I'm perfectly okay with, and then he has to still deal with the 6/6. Unfortunately, that was a pretty bad draw for him. This is definitely a good draw. He was just sitting on that. Drew land. So 2 land for him. He didn't really have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What you got there? Yeah, he's got enough for 6. So he did deal with it. Hopefully we draw something other than land. Not many spells. Nope. But what do about that? And then this can attack here. We may get in trouble just for the simple fact is we don't have a threat anymore. And we've drawn a lot of land. 4, 8, 2, to 5 spells. 4, 8, 11. 11 to 5. Oh, that's unfortunate. So we're going to lose our welcome turn. Oh no, never mind. Can't. It's legendary. Unfortunate. Sounds of not going through. He has no cards in hand. Yeah, he's just gonna block, stave off. We should be able to get some draws off of Gestion Thief. Because he's going to be forced to have to block the Wardens. I think I've played a land every turn and I still got 2 land in hand. That's not bad. Can get a draw, he takes the Thief. I mean, otherwise it doesn't really do anything. No, he's just trying to do some damage. Can't get rid of it, so... Don't care. I'll take 5. Get to keep it. Alright, so we deal 6. He's going to be down to 3. He's dead next turn. There's no sense of playing the Lynx. Hopefully the Gestion Thief draws us something that isn't land. That's pretty good. So we'll just hold on to what we got. Just in case something silly happens. Unfortunately, that's not going to do it. Death Touch and Renown. So we'll take 2. It's fine. On board, he doesn't have enough. We can just Frost Links. I've seen some of these decks try to use that. I haven't found too many that do really well unless they draw Gaia's Revenge or Gaia's Vengeance or whatever it's called there, the 8/5. That's the only thing, like, only trick I've seen that actually does anything, and it seems too gimmicky. Like, you have to get those specific pieces. And while, yeah, there's definitely some stuff that you can use to kind of play a control game to wait to get those pieces, the mill works just off the singular piece, so you don't need anything extra. When you start needing extra pieces, you mean you're gonna draw more. And there's not a lot of draw in red and green, so you're just basically just wait until it comes, whereas I have a sick amount of draw. So, just don't think it's a very strong deck, unfortunately. It's a neat deck, but just not strong. Alright, so I think that's gonna wrap this one up. So I get a kind of idea of the Simic deck. Love the tempo play of it. We didn't. I think the first game we saw some of that tempo start to take over. We saw in the game that we lost when they drew the mirror and just sacrificed the mirror to the evolutionary leap. But we were coming back and we were at 2 forever. We just needed to do it 1 turn sooner, and it would have worked out. But thanks everyone for watching, and we'll do another one of these again sometime.